So, how is what Jesus Christ did not like what Adam did, but much, much greater? And that's what we're going to continue answering today. Remember, Paul in Romans 5, he first starts saying, these are the benefits. These are the results of your justification. These are the results of you being declared righteous before God. And he starts building a house. But then he goes back and deals with the foundation that that house is built upon. Because everything he starts out in Romans chapter 5 dealing with, all those things will easily crumble if there's not a solid foundation. So that's what he is doing now. And he is dealing with the foundation of our justification. So now we see in Romans 5, verse 16, he says, and the gift is not like that which came through the one who sinned. For judgment, which came from one offense, resulted in condemnation. But the gift, which came from many offenses, resulted in justification. So again, here's a contrast between Adam and Christ. It's not a comparison saying, look, what Adam did is like what Christ did. No, it's a contrast saying, what they did, yeah, there are some parallels. Yeah, there are some similarities, but they are not alike. Remember, yesterday we saw this the first time when he says at the end of verse 14, he says, Adam was a type of him who was to come. Then you're expecting, oh, they're like each other. But Paul says, no, but the gift is not like the offense. And now for a second time, verse 16, and the gift is not like that which came through the one who sinned. So something came through Adam, the one who sinned, and something came through Christ, the one who was righteous. So again, it's making a contrast. Something came through Adam, but what came through Christ is much greater, is much better. As we see twice, we saw yesterday and Lord willing, we'll see tomorrow, those words, much more. It's much more greater. It's much superior to what Adam did. So let's look at it. He says, and the gift is not like that which came through the one who sinned. For the judgment which came from one offense resulted in condemnation. So what came through the one who sinned? What came through Adam? So Adam, remember, he was given the command, do not eat of this tree. He ate of the tree and something came through him. And what was that? It says for the judgment. So because of Adam's sin, we've already discussed this. Because of Adam's sin, judgment, remember the ultimate judgment is death, but judgment spread to all men when Adam sinned. That's what came through Adam. It said judgment, which came from one offense, just his one offense, just his one sin. You shall not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And he ate of that tree from that one sin. Judgment came through it and it results in condemnation. So when Adam sinned, judgment spreads to all men and all men don't just die. And that's it. No, it goes beyond this life and it goes to an eternity in a place Revelation calls the lake of fire, called hell. Jesus speaks of hell more than anyone in the Bible. Take all the prophets combined and Jesus speaks of hell more than them. And it makes sense because he knows the most about hell. And that's even an understatement. But anyway, what came through Adam's one sin was judgment, and it leads to hell. You're like, man, I don't like that. Well, Paul's point here is not to set your mind on what Adam did. It's to set your mind on the work, the infinitely greater work of Christ and what came through Christ. It says, for judgment which came from one offense resulted in condemnation, but the gift which came from many offenses resulted in justification. So through Christ, the gift came. And this gift wasn't just for one offense. You know, if the gift of Christ just covered one offense, that would be great. Because that's very gracious and merciful toward the person that committed that sin. But that's not what happened. You remember back in Genesis, Abraham was promised that from his seed, all the nations would be blessed. And it was as many as the stars in number and as innumerable as the sand on the seashore. Now, I don't know how many hundreds of billions of people that may be, but each one of those people have so many sins. No one can even count how sinful, how much sin Jesus took upon himself, how much sin that the gift covered. So the gift, which came from many offenses, resulted in justification. This is infinitely greater than what Adam did. Through Adam, judgment came. And this judgment came not only resulting in physical death in this world, but resulting in eternal death in the lake of fire in hell, where, as John says in Revelation, they will drink down the wine cup of the wrath of God, poured out full strength into the cup of his indignation, and they will be tormented in flames with no rest, day or night. That's what came through Adam's one offense. But through Christ, his gift covers many offenses. Many offenses are covered by his gift. And this is a great encouragement, Christian. If you put your faith in Christ, yes, you are a sinner. You don't even know half of your sin. You don't know a portion. You don't know a smallest nanosecond of your life has more sin than you can ever conceive. I know mine does. But if you put your faith in Christ, if I put my faith in Christ, the gift covers all of those sins, as we'll see more as we work through this chapter, Lord willing. So this gift, which covered many offenses, results in justification. I shouldn't even have to tell you the definition now. But just in case this might be your first one, justification means being declared righteous. So, do you see it? Though you have many offenses, though multitudes, billions, maybe hundreds of billions throughout the ages have many offenses, innumerable offenses, through the gift, they are declared righteous before a holy God. But we're like, okay, how can a righteous God declare sinners righteous? That's because he sent his son. Remember, God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. He sent his son into this world, and he lived a absolutely perfect life. Why? It wasn't just, Jesus came, lived a perfect life, and he died. No, he had to live a perfect life. Why? Someone had to perfectly obey God. And he did, and he earned that gift of righteousness, which he gives to us, which covers our many offenses. He suffered the wrath of God for those many offenses, and he gives the gift of righteousness to declare those who have done these many offenses righteous before God. That's what came through Christ, and that is infinitely greater than the judgment and condemnation through Adam. So as I said yesterday, take your mind off Adam. Take your mind off sin. Take your mind off of judgment. Take your mind off of condemnation. Yes, they are realities. But as we already said in this series, the heart of God is not to judge. The heart of God is not to condemn. The heart of God is to justify, to declare righteous. He's given you a gift. Do you ever give someone a gift and expect them not to open it, not to receive it? No, you desire them to receive it. You desire them to open it. You desire them to be benefited from it. And this is the gift that God gives through Jesus Christ, the gift of righteousness. He desires for you to receive it, to open it, to glory in it, to marvel in it, to be clothed with the very righteousness of God and rejoice and go boldly before Him. And you have an eternity. Remember, you have an eternity in hell if you stay in Adam. But if you put your faith in Christ, you have an eternity with Him, with Jesus Christ, seeing Him face to face. Be encouraged and take your mind off of Adam and set them on Christ.